He'd been teaching kids to build model rockets for 20 years, running the high school rocket club, supervising launches, helping students understand basic aerospace principles. Just another elderly volunteer trying to share his passion for flight, until a missile guidance system failure threatened a catastrophic military accident, and suddenly the quiet rocket club leader revealed why he understood propulsion systems that stumped defense engineers. Dimitri Petrov was 76 years old, with white hair that remained unruly despite his attempts to comb it flat, and intense blue eyes that tracked rocket trajectories with the precision of sophisticated guidance computers. His weathered hands moved with practiced economy despite arthritis, assembling model rockets and calculating thrust vectors with tolerances that ensured perfect flights, while his voice carried the patient teaching tone of someone who understood that aerospace engineering was too beautiful not to share with young minds. Welcome to the Human Stories. Before we continue this incredible tale of hidden expertise and missile-saving knowledge, tell me in the comments what city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories about quiet masters deserve to be heard, hit that subscribe button. Jefferson High School's aerospace club operated from a converted classroom in Huntsville, Alabama, where 23 students learned rocket science through hands-on projects that transformed abstract physics into soaring achievements. The program combined theoretical education with practical construction, teaching propulsion principles, trajectory calculations, and safety protocols that prepared students for potential careers in the aerospace industry. Dimitri had volunteered as club advisor for 20 years, transforming it from a small hobby group into one of the most respected high school rocket programs in the Southeast. His teaching approach combined rigorous engineering education with patient mentorship, making complex aerospace concepts accessible to teenagers while maintaining safety standards that had resulted in zero accidents over 2 decades. His methodology emphasized understanding fundamental principles rather than memorizing formulas, helping students develop intuitive grasp of propulsion physics that would serve them throughout their academic and professional careers.
What none of them realized was that Dr. Dimitri Petrov had spent 38 years developing missile systems with capabilities that made model rockets look like toys by comparison. Dimitri lived alone in a modest house 15 minutes from the school, surrounded by the suburban tranquility of a community that supported space industry workers. The main living areas were comfortable but unremarkable, furnished with pieces that reflected practical priorities rather than academic pretension. But the basement workshop revealed technical capabilities that exceeded model rocket requirements. The walls displayed propulsion system diagrams and test documentation spanning nearly 4 decades of missile development. Guidance algorithms that had improved intercontinental ballistic missile accuracy, propulsion designs that had advanced space launch capabilities, and safety protocols that had prevented accidental launches during the height of the Cold War. Bookshelves held technical references that most aerospace engineers would consider classified material: propulsion physics texts, guidance system design manuals, and trajectory analysis research that Dimitri had contributed to during his defense industry career. Filing cabinets contained project documentation for missile systems that had shaped how America approached both space exploration and national defense. And in a secured safe that seemed excessive for hobby rocketry were credentials that would have transformed how Alabama's aerospace community viewed their high school volunteer. A PhD in aerospace engineering from Caltech, senior scientist credentials from major defense contractors, and consulting agreements with NASA and the Department of Defense that had shaped how the United States developed both peaceful and military rocket systems. Dr. Dimitri Petrov, internationally recognized authority on missile guidance and propulsion systems, his career had focused on developing intercontinental ballistic missiles, space launch vehicles, and guidance technologies that required precision beyond anything civilian aerospace applications demanded. But equally important, he'd established safety protocols that prevented accidental launches and guidance failures that could have caused international incidents. The work had taken Dimitri from theoretical research that advanced understanding of propulsion physics to operational systems that defended American interests while advancing space exploration capabilities. His expertise had been crucial in developing the guidance algorithms, thrust vector control, and safety systems that governed how American missiles functioned reliably under conditions that would destroy less sophisticated systems. Retirement in 2008 had been voluntary rather than mandatory. Dimitri had accumulated enough years in defense aerospace to retire with full pension while still young enough to pursue educational work that didn't involve the security classifications and international tensions that had characterized his professional career. The Rocket Club volunteer position wasn't about staying busy during retirement. It was about sharing aerospace knowledge with students rather than developing weapon systems. Using rocket science to inspire young minds rather than advancing military capabilities, and continuing to work with propulsion systems that challenged his technical abilities without threatening global stability. But 38 years of missile engineering expertise doesn't disappear because someone changes from defense research to educational volunteering, and Dimitri's trained understanding continued monitoring aerospace safety issues that could affect both his students and the broader community. Friday, March 22nd, started like every other club meeting day. Dimitri arrived at Jefferson High at 3:30 p.m., reviewed launch preparations for the weekend's rocket competition, and prepared for another afternoon of helping students understand aerospace principles through hands-on rocket construction. The session proceeded normally until 4:45 p.m., when Dimitri received a call that triggered 38 years of missile safety experience. Redstone Arsenal, the military installation 5 miles from Jefferson High, was experiencing guidance system malfunctions during testing of a new tactical missile system. The problems weren't immediately dangerous, but they suggested developing failures that could affect missile reliability during operational deployment. Dr. Petrov recognized the emergency immediately. Missile guidance problems that could escalate from testing anomalies to catastrophic accidents if the underlying engineering defects weren't identified and corrected quickly. Colonel Rodriguez, this is Dr. Dimitri Petrov, aerospace engineer. I'll need to see the guidance system specifications and test data to provide useful analysis of propulsion behavior. Over the next 8 hours, Dimitri coordinated missile safety analysis that identified fundamental design flaws in guidance algorithms that could have caused catastrophic failures during operational deployment. His analysis revealed that the missile's guidance system contained programming errors that would cause trajectory deviations under specific atmospheric conditions, potentially directing missiles toward unintended targets. His model rocket experience provided practical understanding of how guidance systems interacted with real-world flight conditions that differed from laboratory testing environments. Dr. Petrov, our computer simulations didn't predict the guidance failures you've identified. How did you diagnose these problems when our aerospace engineers couldn't detect them? Dimitri looked around the Redstone Arsenal testing facility where his missile safety expertise was now preventing potential disasters. Colonel Rodriguez, I've spent 38 years designing guidance systems that have to work perfectly under combat conditions. The problems you're experiencing are identical to guidance failures I've encountered in operational missile systems. The guidance system corrections that Dimitri's analysis had initiated prevented what could have been catastrophic missile accidents during operational deployment, while establishing enhanced testing protocols that improved missile reliability throughout the defense aerospace industry. The story remained classified within defense industry publications, protecting both national security and Dimitri's privacy while ensuring that missile safety protocols incorporated lessons learned from decades of propulsion research. Dimitri returned to his Rocket Club duties, teaching students with the same patient precision that had characterized his pre-emergency work. But something had changed in his relationship with the aerospace community and his understanding of how his expertise could continue serving rocket safety. Mr. Petrov, the news said there were some problems at Redstone Arsenal that got fixed. Did that have anything to do with the rocket science you teach us?
Dimitri looked around the classroom where students were assembling model rockets using principles that scaled from hobby projects to space exploration. Marcus, the physics that makes our model rockets fly safely is the same physics that makes any rocket system work properly. Whether you're launching a model rocket or a space shuttle, the engineering principles stay the same. Were you involved in real rocket development? Dimitri smiled, adjusting his volunteer coordinator badge that covered federal credentials he'd hoped never to need again. I've spent my career making sure rocket systems work reliably and safely. Now I get to share that knowledge with students who might someday design the next generation of space exploration vehicles. Dr. Petrov continued his Rocket Club volunteer work until he was 83, serving as informal aerospace safety consultant for NASA while maintaining the educational program that inspired hundreds of students to pursue careers in space exploration and aerospace engineering. Because he'd learned that the most effective aerospace education often required expertise that exceeded standard teaching qualifications, rocket knowledge that continued regardless of official titles, and propulsion experience that served both individual students and national aerospace capabilities with equal dedication to ensuring that rocket science advanced human knowledge rather than threatening human survival.